Let me just start with this. I love you, CUFI. I just love you so much. I'm sure many of you are wondering how Dennis Prager is doing, and so I'm going to take a couple of seconds just to give you a quick update. You may have heard that about 7 months ago, Dennis fell, and he's been recovering since. The injury is severe, and so he's still recovering. And the plan was that in addition to getting great doctors, we are going to bombard God the Almighty with prayers to a point that he just says, just stop already, stop bombarding me, I'm going to answer your prayers. And so I'm happy to say that he's doing a little better this week. His breathing is a little better. I shared with Pastor Hagee a little message from Dennis, and your prayers are working, and so God bless you and thank you for them. Thank you. I'm going to get in the front here because I'm kind of little, unlike Dennis. I shared with Dennis that I'm coming out here, and of course he was upset that he couldn't be here and speak with you. And I said to Dennis, you know, to be honest, I don't know that I'm going to be able to hold back my tears as I speak to all of you. It's been such a tornado around the world. It's been a tornado at PragerU without Dennis. It's been a tornado in America. It's such an emotional time. And I know that many of you just watched this video, you're probably expecting this like really strong, tough chick, which generally I am, a strong, tough chick. But I was worried that I'll start crying here. And Dennis said to me, if there is a place where you can lower your guard and even cry, it's at CUFI. So it does feel like home, to Dennis's point, and thank you for that. Dennis used to share that there was something of Jews of his generation, they would think about when they were in a room with non-Jews, with Gentiles. And that generation would think, well, would the people in this room hide me should there be another Holocaust? And Dennis would say that when he would go to a room like this with friends from CUFI, he would know that the people in this room would hide us.
Absolutely.
What's so painful for moms like me to realize is that there are young college students across America who are starting to wonder the same question. You heard from Shabbos Kessenbaum last night. What is happening to the world? What is happening to America? The attack on the Jews and the anti-Semitism. And so I just want to say again that I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to feel safe and protected by the amazing people in this room and the people who are outside of this room who support CUFI and organizations like yours. It means a lot. And I also want to take a moment to thank President Trump for showing up for the Jewish people by cleaning up the garbage. Incredibly grateful. And to the protesters outside, I'd like to remind everybody that the colors of freedom are not red and green, but they're actually red, white, and blue. So I'm getting to know some of you for the first time. I'd like to share two stories that had a fundamental impact on me and my character. And I think one of them is incredibly relevant to the messianic times that we're perhaps living in right now. The story is the story of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Akiva walked the streets of Jerusalem after the destruction of the Second Temple. And he was there with his friends, the sages, and the sages watched a fox come out of the Holy of Holies, and they began weeping. The temple was destroyed. They were so upset, they were horrified to see that for the second time there was no temple in Jerusalem. And Rabbi Akiva looked at the fox and looked around, and he started laughing. He started giggling. Rabbi Akiva, how can you be giggling? The temple was just destroyed. What's wrong with you? And Rabbi Akiva looked back at the sages and said, it wasn't until I saw that the prophecies of the Bible, the negative prophecies of the Bible, of the destruction, were true, that I understood that the positive prophecies, the rebuilding, was also true. And the sages looked back at Rabbi Akiva and they said, Rabbi Akiva, nechamtanu, Rabbi Akiva, nechamtanu. Rabbi Akiva, you've consoled us, you've comforted us. God is in control. We forget that sometime, but God is in control. Yeah. The second story that had a huge impact on my life was the story of an American girl that at age 13 visited Jerusalem. She went to the Holocaust Museum. Holocaust Museum was called Yad Vashem, and she was walking through the hallways of the museum, the dark hallways, and she saw the baby shoes and the brushes and the burnt books and the pictures of the emaciated people. And like many who walked through Yad Vashem, she could not say a word. How could this kind of evil happen? She made it to the end of the exhibit, and there was a door with a docent standing right under a light. And the 13-year-old American girl walked up to this docent and said, "Can I ask you a question? How could this happen? How could this not be stopped sooner? How could humans let such evil happen?" And the docent, who's been there for a while, looked back at the young girl and he said, "Young lady, most people don't fight until it's too late. And most people rely on others to do the fighting for them." Yeah. Sure. Later on, this girl grew up and she joined the Israeli military. She was actually in Unit 8200, now known as the beeper unit or the pager unit. And later, she moved back to the United States and began building PragerU. This girl is me. You see, maybe the hard way, I learned at a very young age that when good people don't fight, evil wins. And when people fight, when good people fight, evil loses. That's why I'm not an isolationist. You recognize this picture from the 1940s? Hitler didn't attack America. As I grew up, I gave birth to 3 little children. They're now in grade school. And I also got a master's in education. And you probably won't find this surprising, but as I was getting my master's in education, they would teach us this thing. They would say to us, you know, kids, they don't come with a manual. And I would think to myself, wait a second, actually I do think that humans come with a manual. Have you heard of the Old Testament? It's kind of a manual for human nature, isn't it? Right? Yeah. I mean, have you read in the Old Testament that those who love God hate evil, right? In Psalms? You think about that. If you love God, how can you allow evil to happen? How about the 10 Commandments? Remember when we had 10 Commandments hanging in American classrooms, and in the 1960s they took them down? By the way, kudos to the many educators and legislators around the country who are bringing back the 10 Commandments into our schools. And if any of you are tied to any schools across the nation, especially in Texas, Louisiana, we have a poster ready for you with links to use in your classrooms. They're completely free. Just take them. My ROI will be return on influence. The 10 Commandments, you want to abolish the police? You want to defund the police? How about you start by reading the 10 Commandments and following them? That could help bring the funding down towards the police. You won't need as much of it. Have you noticed on social media how many people are using God's name in vain? Pretty amazing how we've been warned against that, isn't it? Courage. Courage. This is one of my if you have teenagers, this is a must. I say this to my son. He's almost 13 years old. Joshua 1:9. Chazak ve'ematz, they say in Hebrew. Be strong and courageous. Have you noticed that the word be strong comes before the word courageous? Isn't that amazing? That first you take the act of strength and then you find that you're actually courageous? Isn't that amazing? It's amazing. You know why it's amazing? Because the Bible is a manual for human nature. And that's why we need it back in our schools, and that's why we need it back in our lives. Okay, so you've seen I've been doing all this fun stuff with the PragerU team with AI, and I'm sure there's all kinds of controversy about AI, but at PragerU what we do is we blend the timeless truth with technology. And so I love these lions, the Christians and the Jews. This is kind of how I think about us. And PragerU has just created for the White House this amazing exhibit, the founders of the Declaration of Independence, those who've signed it. And as we were working on this exhibit, I could not stop thinking about all of you and my visit here and about Pastor Hagee. So we summoned George Washington to bring you a message.
My fellow citizens, with sincere admiration, I commend Pastor John Hagee and the faithful members of Christians United for Israel. Your unwavering defense of Israel reflects the noblest virtues of our shared faith and serves as a light in times when secularism threatens the moral order. Your efforts affirm what I have long held. Of all the dispositions and habits which led to political prosperity, religion and morality are indispensable supports. You uphold liberty, scripture, and the God-given rights of our allies in the Holy Land with courage and conviction. I also extend a hearty congratulations to PragerU to reach 28 million unique visitors through what I am told is called a website, while producing 40 different pieces of content every single week is an endeavor worthy of praise. And what is even more heartening is this: 60% of your audience is under the age of 35. Though I come from a time before the invention of this digital age, I see the magnitude of your work and its importance to our youth. As I have said, the preservation of the sacred fire of liberty is finally staked on the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people. Your efforts to engage 10 U.S. states to bring PragerU's education materials into our schools will no doubt restore virtue and truth to America. Press on. The eyes of posterity are upon you. To Pastor Hagee, the members of CUFI, and the patriots at PragerU, thank you. May Almighty God continue to guide your cause and bless these United States of America.
Well, imagine what it was like to teach George Washington about the internet. That was a lot of fun. But if you want to see some of our other videos, they're on the White House website or on PragerU. And I also want to take a moment to just thank Sandy. You're the best. Really appreciate all your work. And to all of you for supporting Israel, for supporting the United States of America. I could not be prouder to serve alongside with you. When I think about us, this combined tree of truth, I think about this image. The Old Testament, the Jews are the roots. Together we make this incredible, beautiful tree. You are the branches. You bring joy. You bring truth, you bring prosperity, you protect, you defend, and we need each other. A tree without its roots is a tree without its nourishment and its soul. A tree without its roots has amnesia and doesn't know where it came from. And the roots of a tree is a tree that is, well, perhaps missing something very significant. And so God brought us together to protect the world, to protect humanity, to protect the truth. And there are going to be storms that are going to try to shake our tree, but we will not waver. We will remain unshaken. And I just thank you so much for this incredible partnership. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. And God bless the state of Israel.
Thank you.
Love you.